September 19, 1972. A dog comes home dragging something strange in its jaws. A human forearm. The police trace it back to a cliffside in Springfield, New Jersey. They find the body of 16-year-old Jeannette DePalma. What surrounds her body doesn't make sense. Branches arranged like symbols. A cross of twigs. Some say a pentagram. But here's what they don't tell you in the reports. The body showed no signs of trauma, no defensive wounds, no struggle, as if she simply laid down to die, or was placed there by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The official story says it wasn't ritual, but if that's true, why did the police files vanish? Why did the crime scene photos disappear? Why has no one been arrested in 50 years? And why do locals still refuse to walk those woods after dark? This is the case they tried to bury. This is the ritual murder of Jeannette DePalma. The girl on the cliff. Jeannette was 16. She'd just started junior year. She told her mom she was heading to a friend's house and never showed up. Her body was found a month later on a bluff called Devil's Teeth. The terrain was steep, remote, not easy to climb, and the way she was found told a different story. Jeannette wasn't the type to wander into dangerous places alone. She was religious, responsible. Her friends described her as cautious. So how did a careful teenager end up on a treacherous cliff, in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by ritual symbols? The family dog that found her remains? It had never strayed that far from home before, almost as if something or someone led it there, almost as if they wanted her to be found. Her body was intact, no signs of a struggle, but surrounding her were objects, arranged, placed, crosses made of sticks, logs encircled around her like a ritual boundary, a wooden staff nearby. The first officer on scene later told his family, off the record, that the arrangement looked too perfect to be random. The sticks weren't just scattered by wind or animals, they were positioned, deliberate, methodical, like someone had taken their time to get it just right. Locals immediately whispered, "Satanic ritual, human sacrifice," and that's where the story fractures. The missing evidence. Springfield police released a short statement. No signs of foul play, no evidence of ritual activity. But here's the thing. Reporters later asked to see the crime scene photos. And the photos were gone. Autopsy report? Lost. Case files? Missing. This isn't just bureaucratic incompetence. We're talking about the complete erasure of evidence in a potential homicide. Detective work from the 1970s was meticulous. They documented everything. So when everything disappears, that's not an accident. That's a cover-up. One retired officer, speaking anonymously, told us, "Orders came from above, way above. We were told to let it go." When we asked what those orders were specifically, the line went dead. Police said the body was too decomposed to determine cause of death. But eyewitnesses from the scene told a different story. One said there were stones in a circle. Another swore it looked like a pentagram, and every time someone asked more questions, files disappeared. The coroner who performed the autopsy, he left town 3 months later, never spoke about the case again. The lead detective, early retirement. The photographer who documented the scene, his negatives were accidentally destroyed in a flood. Coincidences don't cluster like this, not unless someone is orchestrating them. So what exactly were they hiding? Occult panic. The 1970s were the peak of America's satanic panic. Cults, rituals, animal sacrifice. Across the country, whispers of devil worship were everywhere, and Jeannette's case fit the template. Young girl, religious family, found surrounded by symbols. But this wasn't just media hysteria. In the month before Jeannette's death, Springfield had seen unusual activity. Dead animals found arranged in patterns, Strange fires in the woods, reports of robed figures meeting at night. The local Catholic Church had even issued warnings about unholy practices in our community. 3 families reported their teenagers missing for days, only to return changed, disturbed, refusing to say where they'd been. One theory said Jeannette had converted a former drug user to Christianity, and he retaliated with ritual revenge. Another claimed she was lured to devil's teeth by a local group experimenting with the occult. No one was ever arrested. Some witnesses who spoke out said they were threatened. Others went silent, and the case faded into darkness. But here's what investigators found when they dug deeper. Jeannette had been asking questions about local devil worshippers in the weeks before her death. She'd told friends she was going to expose them. She'd been carrying a small cross and holy water. Was she investigating something dangerous, or was she planning a confrontation that cost her everything? The paranormal thread. In the decades since, Jeannette's death has drawn paranormal investigators, psychics, and amateur sleuths. One psychic claimed she saw Jeannette pushed by someone she trusted. Others believe the bluff itself, devil's teeth, is cursed. Local legends say the woods nearby were once used for pagan rituals long before settlers came, and people still report strange sounds, lights, and voices. Research into the area's history reveals something disturbing. Devil's Teeth has been a site of unexplained deaths for over 200 years. Native American tribes avoided the area, calling it the place where spirits gather. Colonial records mention witchcraft trials held near the cliffs. In 1923, a young woman was found dead there under similar circumstances. In 1951, another. Always young women, always arranged, always unsolved. One woman said her compass spun in circles near the site. Another swore she heard someone whisper her name. Are these just ghost stories, or are they warnings? Most disturbing of all, every September 19th, the anniversary of Jeannette's discovery, locals report increased paranormal activity. Car engines dying near Devil's Teeth, electronics malfunctioning, and always the sound of a young girl crying in the woods. Some say it's Jeannette still trying to tell her story. Others believe it's a warning that the ritual isn't over. Today, Jeannette DePalma's case remains unsolved. No suspects, no justice, no explanation. Her family still wants answers, and every time someone gets close, the trail goes cold again. But here's what we've uncovered in our investigation. At least 3 other young women in the area went missing in the 5 years following Jeannette's death. All religious, all last seen near wooded areas. 2 were never found. The third was discovered in 1977, arranged in the exact same pattern as Jeannette. Case files? Also missing. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was a pattern. But here's the question. If this wasn't a ritual murder, why does it look like one? Why did the police lose every important file? Why do the symbols at her death scene match known occult diagrams? And why, after 50 years, is no one willing to speak on the record? We reached out to 47 people connected to this case. Police officers, witnesses, family friends, local residents. 44 refused to speak with us. Of the 3 who agreed, 2 changed their minds before our scheduled interviews. The third told us simply, some things are better left buried. But silence isn't protection. Silence is complicity. And somewhere out there, someone knows exactly what happened to Jeannette DePalma. Maybe Jeannette's killer is gone. Or maybe they're still watching, still hiding, still practicing. To Jeannette's family, we haven't forgotten. To her killer, we're still looking. And to anyone with information, your silence protects no one but the guilty. This is the ritual murder they buried, but we are digging it up. The truth has a way of surfacing, even when powerful people try to bury it. Jeannette DePalma deserved better than silence. She deserved justice. If you have information about this case, no matter how small, there are people who will listen. Anonymous tip lines exist for a reason. And if you're someone who was there that night, if you know what really happened on Devil's Teeth, remember that guilt has no statute of limitations. Neither does the truth. This is Dark Crimson Files, where forgotten victims get remembered and buried secrets get exposed. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the shadows of the next case. Subscribe if you believe every victim deserves their story told. Hit that notification bell if you want to help us dig up the truth. And remember, in the darkness of unsolved crimes, we are the light.